I want to do a topia video. Shout out to Piro. I was thinking about what would happen to topia in times of general economic depression in the surrounding areas, or maybe even in the world. Like, what would topia's responsibility be? So, but first, let's open this malt liquor up, but recap what topia is about. And I just dropped this on the ground and dented it, so let's find out what happens. Alright, so Earltopia is a small community of that's primary focus is the education of its citizens. Primary focus is education. So how does that work? Because it still has to function, you know, as a living unit. So imagine a community that was 100% focused on sustainable development. That was also how could we sustain, say, our energy production, our food production, our population, the growth of our community, but yet also deal with the surplus, and also how could we ensure surplus? How could we always know that we're going to have more of this thing? You know, like if we're using X amount of lumber, that means we need a forest larger than we need. If we're using up so much water, we need a clean water source that will provide more than we need at all times. Do you want to go up, bud? So, but it's educational based. So everyone, you have two requirements in Earltopia, and then kind of the sky is the limit at what the community wants to offer you, and a sky's the limit of what you want it to be a part of. But basically is you have to participate in the education system. Now that might mean that you are into just music. I want to become a music. Well, you have to become a music master. You have to be master level musician. You also then have to teach. So like if that's all you want to do is be as part of our community, then you have to become the best there is, the best you can be, a master level, and then you have to also be an instructor. Though you would also have to participate in the political governing nature of society. Like who is everyone? Everyone is going to be at one point in time a mayor, a chief of police, or not everyone's going to be a mayor. Like hopefully as many people as possible, but someone's going to work. You are going to work in the mayor's office. You will work with the police, the fire department, the city services. So you won't necessarily be the manager of the electrical. The electrical production of the city, but you will be you're going to be an engineer, or you're going to be something, and then inside that you're going to be trained to do as many jobs as possible when you're at the power plant. You're not just going to be like, well, we're going to train you to answer the phone, so you'll do that for 2 years. You're going to be like, well, we'll start you on the phones, we'll work you into our accounting, or we'll work you into our inspection, or you'll work you into power forecasts throughout the year, or emergency services, something like that. Oh my gosh, let's get some of this down. All right. So every single individual is going to be educated, is going to be an educator, and is going to take part in government in some way. But on top of that, sky's the limit. If you want to, I want to master as many jobs and as many topics that we could produce, and I want to bring more topics to our educational system. So where is the money going to come from? Because there will be export, and the money would come from everything that is produced in Earltopia would everything produced for export would be master craftsman level. You know, we wouldn't just throw out, we wouldn't be throwing out like plywood tables at any point in time. It would be, there would be the finest and the highest quality tables made locally off, you know, things from off that land. All right, I think that's pretty much the basic sum up. I think that one thing that I touched base on about law enforcement is it's everybody's duty. It's every citizen's duty to enforce the law. I mean, citizens' arrest would be the norm, but hopefully, in a society that's so integrated, in a society that so provides for food, education, housing, that really anything of a criminal nature would be either something that someone has like little to no impulse control. You know, like you might have all that you need, but you might be a kleptomaniac. So really, probably enforcing crime for the most part in a society that wants to give every one of its citizens as much as they need, as much as they could learn, and get from them as much as they can. It really would be identifying instabilities in the psyche. But then I started thinking about what would generate the largest amount of money, and I started thinking about defense. And I'm getting to where, like, I'm starting to think about, like, what if society starts crumbling for whatever reason. I think the production and the research of non-lethal military technology would be really interesting, and also I was seeing some things on missile defense platforms and things like that, like all different ways to use energy and what appears to be like missile technology that's missiles that are designed to take out other missiles. Like, and how far could that go? Especially like, you know, in just a theoretical nature, if there was like just a team of experts that are just like, you know, theories, you know, whatever theory you could come up with, you know, let's run with it. I thought that would be pretty exciting. But also there's one thing I forgot to mention about Earltopia, about the excess. Like I mentioned the excess earlier. All that would be stockpiled for the excess of population and materials go out to start new Earltopias, hopefully in places where a desert community or a mountain community or a community living on the coast, the things that they have a bounty of, and the things that we have a bounty of, hopefully those things could be exchanged for balance. But that exchange for balance wouldn't be necessary for the survival of any of the communities. Like we would never be reliant on fish from this one community. I mean, we'd be growing our own fish, we'd be raising our own fish if that's what we wanted to do. But that would be an excellent way to deal with surplus. But another way to deal with surplus is to help the surrounding communities, not only with our surplus, but with our education. Not to the same level. It probably would be an application process that just any citizen of Earltopia could attain, and the same thing with like joining our community. Like if you're opening up Earltopias all the time, as a population grows and the sons and daughters and their children are ready to start their own family and in their own new community, and their experience, helping to run the show in this community goes into their experience in helping start a new community. And on the older folks, people are ready to retire, but have been the mayor and the chief of police and in charge of the fire department, will go there to retire, but also to lend a supervisory hand in the forming of a new community. And then how we interact with our neighbors strengthens them. Doesn't make them weaker. Like, like we have extra fish here, go ahead and have some. That's not the way it would be. Like, we would trade, like normal communities do, but not in any way that a community becomes dependent upon us. I think that it occurs to me that if a community had a drought or anything, and it seemed to be a temporary thing, that community of Earl topia would want to make sure those people got all the water they need, all the water, food, or shelter if there's a fire or anything that they needed. But if it appeared to be like there's some communities where the water ground level is dropping below like 200 feet, like it's like water levels in the ground have never been detected at levels like that, then that community would have to go about, that community would have to change, and Earl topia would help them. But they wouldn't try to sustain, well, let's try to redirect a river to your community or something like that. Like, it's like, or, if, it's like, well, you can't limp along with what you got. You have to change. You have to switch legs. You have to stand on a stronger leg. And then, and I was also thinking, like, and if things totally went crazy, if things went totally out of hand, I just think that, like, having everyone participated in government, having everyone participated as a legal representative of law enforcement of their community, thoroughly trained and tried and true, with state-of-the-art defensive capabilities, they'd be hard to mess with, right? Like you'd think, like, well, this community's thriving, they've got lots of goods, let's go in there and take some, like in an apocalyptic movie scenario. It'd be just the hardest, most protected thing to get at anyway, and also it would be also something that is offered. It's like, let's go steal their food. It's like, no, we're offering food. We're not going to offer you food if you can't feed yourself. We're offering you food and we'll help you feed yourself, but we're not gonna give it away, and we're not gonna be robbed, and we're not gonna waste it. So all right, anything else? No, I can't think of anything else. It just suddenly occurred to me that, like, Earl topia, selling education would be a difficult way, other than like it would produce master craftsmen. But being a part of the defense capabilities of the world, strengthening community's ability to protect itself from rocket attacks and stuff like that would make the world safer, but also make Earl topia, like, way more defensive, way more able to hold its own. So we're not a whole bunch of, like, like a peace-loving hippie commune, that could just be pushed around, that kind of thing. Bunch of army trucks start heading our way, we just, like, EMP them or something like that. I don't even know. All their computers would go dead. Who knows what? But, nobody's patsies.